In this lecture, we're going to continue looking to set up Word to begin writing a book. And in this lecture, we're going to look specifically at setting up nonfiction versus fiction styles in Word. Now, we're going to set up styles rather than configuring everything by selecting things and then configuring what they should look like, because styles can be applied to multiple things. For instance, we're going to pick a style for the default font called normal. That's what the default paragraph font. And then we're going to pick a style for the head 1 and the head 2 levels and so on, so that whenever we go and say, this is of style normal, or this is of style head 1, it applies our styles automatically. And there are different styles for fiction and nonfiction. So let's jump over to Word and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here we are. And I'm going to start Word from my taskbar. Remember, we set up Word in the taskbar. And up it comes, and it's full screen, and I'm going to create a blank document. We're going to start from scratch here. And you can see I've got the navigation pane on the left, I've got the editing pane in the middle, and I've got my Pro Writing Aid pane on the right. I've got my menu collapsed, and I'm running full screen. So this is what we learned in the second video in this series. Now, this being the third, we are going to learn how to set up styles. Now, by default, let's put in some stuff here. This is the first paragraph that we are going to use as an example. And then I'll take this text, select it, copy it, go here, and I'll go paste, and I'll go here, and I'll paste it again, and then we'll create a second paragraph. This is the second paragraph that I want to use. Okay, and we grab this, copy it, paste it here, and then we go, this is the third paragraph. Now that should be enough text for us to play with. What we can see right away is that as we start a new paragraph, it puts a little bit of space in between and it left justifies everything. It's also using as its default font Calibri, which I don't particularly like. Now, let's begin by setting this for nonfiction. Okay, nonfiction is left justified, and it has a space in between. But what we're going to do is we're going to come up and we're going to configure normal. Rather than selecting text, these are our two options. So I can select text here. Go away. I can select text here. And then I can come up and I configure it to be some font and some font size. But I don't want to constantly do that. What I want to do is create a style. So default paragraphs are called normal styles. You can see if I go to the home menu, I have a style section. And here's normal. That's what paragraphs are. Now, if I right-click on normal, I can come down in the context menu and pick configure. Now, what I want to do is I want to make this Arial, and I want to make it 12 point instead of 11. The other thing that I want to do is come to the lower left, pick Format, and go to Paragraph. And after each paragraph, I want 12 points of space. So it'll give me that blank line. Everything is left justified, so let's go ahead and apply that. And now it looks like this. You can see the font is a little beefier. There's a little bit more room between paragraphs. So this is the default font and style for paragraphs that I like to use for nonfiction writing. I like to use Arial 12 point with 12 points of space between paragraphs, and the paragraphs are less justified. Now, the other thing that we need is we need headers. So let's go here and we'll say this is a sample header. Now remember, headers, all the significant words in the line, in the sentence or the line, are capitalized. Now I'm going to come to here and configure head 1. So I'll once again go to it. I'll right click, come on, and click modify. And I want this to be Arial. Let's make it 14 instead of 12. I like making it just a little bit bigger. And then the automatic black font, I'm going to make it bold. And then I'm going to come to format paragraph. And before, I don't want any space. After, I want 12 points. And check this out. If you come to the second tab here on paragraph, to line and page breaks, I can say put a page break before header 1s. So header 1s will start on a new page. Let's go ahead here. Now I come to here, go to home. Let's, by the way, click on the little ribbon control here and say always show ribbon, because we're going to be doing some editing here. So let's keep the ribbon open. And I want to make this a head 1. So you can see, there we go. It's gone bold now, and it's a bigger font. And believe it or not, it's on a new page. To prove that, let's go, this is the second header. And we'll make that a head 1. And you see it jumps to a new page. Also notice what we're getting in the navigation pane is we're getting our head 1s listed for us. Now, with nonfiction, I like to go to lower levels. But before we go to lower levels of nesting, let's look at paragraph numbering. This is something else that I like to do with nonfiction. Okay, is to come up here and say on this, what is this thing called? This is called multi-level list. It's under paragraph on the home menu on the ribbon in the paragraph section. And you click the little down arrow on it, and you click make headings like this. And what it'll do is it will number them, and it will also subnumber them. Now we're ready to jump to header 2s. So if I come over here to my header 2, I right click on it, I say modify. I want a header 2. This is the next level down. Remember, when writing nonfiction, what you do is you write a hierarchy of information. So we're going to have subheaders. And I want it to be Arial, 14, bold, automatic. Let's make it italic too. You want to differentiate it. And then we come down here to paragraph. And we don't want this to put a page break before, but we want 0 space before and 12 points after. Now what we can do is we can come here and put in another, this is a subheader. Oh, that should be capitalized. Subheader. And then we make that a head level 2. And notice how it's numbering them hierarchically. And I get an indent and the hierarchy here in my navigation pane as I can navigate around the document to these levels and sublevels. Now, once again, if you want to go to a head level 3, we take head level 3, we modify it. I want it to be Arial, 14. Let's not make it bold. Let's make it italic, automatic black, paragraph, no space before, 12 points after. Now if I come here and I put in a head level 3, that will be handled differently. And it will show up once again in my navigation pane on the left. So this is the way that you can configure head levels and paragraph levels for nonfiction. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to fiction. Now fiction doesn't use subheader levels. So the first thing we'll do is we'll grab these head level 2s and 3s and we'll get rid of those. And we'll keep the other one. And for chapter 1, okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to remove numbering. So come here once again to this multi-level list on the paragraph section of the home ribbon and click the little arrow and say none. Now we have no numbering. Let's go here and we'll do no numbering too. So we have no numberings on level 2s. In fact, I want to come here and I want to modify on the head level, numbering, none. Okay, good. Okay, now, what we do is with the chapter headings, what I like to do, now you can make them number the same way. So I could say have it automatically say chapter 1, the mission, and so on. The other thing that you can do with head level 1s here is I can modify them and I can make its alignment center. So if you prefer this, having your chapter headers centered, then go ahead and do that. Now check out how we're going to modify normal. We're going to right click on it. Now, we still want Arial 12, but the magic comes in here on the paragraph. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't want Arial. We want Times New Roman. That's what I like to write fiction in, as Times New Roman, and use Arial for nonfiction. Then we come down here to the paragraph, and I'm going to have 0 spaces in between paragraphs. But I'm going to do a special. On the first line of every paragraph, I'm going to indent it 0.33 inches. Now watch what our paragraphs look like. Now they look completely different here. And actually, after a head 1, we want a blank line. Why are we not getting a blank line? We go to paragraph here. Now what you want to do, because it inherited it from normal. So we want to up the amount of space, and then this special, we don't want an indent, so we want none. We go like that. And there we go. Chapter 1, the mission. Here's chapter 2, finding life on Mars. And we make that a head level 1. So this is the way that you write fiction. So every paragraph is indented. There's no space in between. There are head level 1s, and I've centered them in this case by going here and modifying the paragraph on head level 1 to be centered. And I've gotten rid of the indent because it will inherit that as well from normal. So there you go. That's the way to configure a document for either fiction or nonfiction. For nonfiction, we're going to use Arial, 12-point, left justified, with a 12 points worth of blank space between paragraphs. With fiction, we're going to do Times New Roman, 12-point, no blank line between paragraphs, but on the first line, we're going to do a special indent of 0.33 inches. With the headers, we're going to number nonfiction headers and have them hierarchical and do header 1, header 2, header 3. With fiction, we'll only have head level 1s, and we can center them or have them left justified. We can number them with chapter 1 automatically, but I like to just type chapter 1. Now, the problem with this is if you move chapters around or you renumber them and stuff like that, you end up having to retype the chapter number if you type them in rather than having them auto-numbered. So that's the way to configure fiction and nonfiction. I'll see you in the next lecture where we're going to format all of the other stuff on a page, including headers, footers, page numbers, page size, margin sizes, all of this stuff to finish the formatting for publication. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you in the next lecture.